Hello students. Now in the last session we have seen adaptations in the marine ecosystem, that is how the organisms are adapted basing on the light penetration. Now in this session we will be looking at freshwater ecosystem which is basing on the light penetration only. Okay, right? Okay. Now when we are talking about freshwater ecosystems, you should understand that we are talking about the stagnant water type as well as the river water type. Okay, so we will be talking about these two places here: stagnant and river. Okay, right? So river water is that is water is stagnant in the ecosystem, and then also river which is flowing. All right, children. Now moving on. When we are talking about a stagnant water, okay, we can talk about the say your Hussain Sagar, which is present in Hyderabad, Usman Sagar, which is also present in Hyderabad. Okay, then we can talk about Durgam Cheruvu, which is present in Hyderabad. Okay, now these are all stagnant lakes. All right. Now, if you're talking about rivers, you have the Krishna, you have the Godavari. Okay, then you have the other rivers like Narmada, Tapi. Okay, all these are flowing. Okay, so these are flowing rivers. Okay, so all these will have a freshwater ecosystems. Okay, and I forgot to mention that we have the Kolleru Cheruvu, okay, in Andhra Pradesh. Then you have the Chilka Lake in Orissa. Okay, right? So all these are stagnant water ecosystems. Okay. Now, when we are looking at a freshwater ecosystem, now here we also have three zones. Okay, right? Now, before we go to the three zones, you should understand that stagnant water and river water, now both are basically water, and there are certain life forms which can survive only in stagnant, but they cannot be living in the river. Okay. Now let's go to the types of the ecosystem which is present in the river and which is observed in the river and the stagnant waters. Okay. Now the first one, okay, the first one, that is a zone. These are also divided into three zones. Okay, in that the first zone is the littoral zone. Okay, first zone is called as the littoral zone. Okay, right? Now we will look at these one by one. Okay, I'll tell you the characteristic of this zone first. Okay, first one is the littoral zone. Now littoral zone, it is a shallow zone. Okay. Now, once I say it is a shallow zone, where it is seen, shallow zone means it is seen near the shore. Okay, it is seen near the shore. Okay, right? Then, now here water is muddy and turbid. Okay, turbid means there is a lot of disturbance. There is murky, very murky. Okay. Then the next one is, the next point in littoral zone is, okay, now this is the warmest zone. This is the warmest zone at the edge of the water. Okay, it is the warmest zone at the edge of the water. So here, because it is warm, you can see certain organisms like your snails, then you can see your clams. Okay, right? Now, then moving on to the next point. Okay, now say these organisms have a well-developed eyesight. Okay, these organisms have a well developed eyesight. That means they can see properly. Okay, they have a well developed eyesight. Then moving on to the next point in littoral zone. Now the bodies are grayish. The bodies are, okay, they are grayish in color. Okay, right? They are grayish in color, and these organisms are fast swimmers. Okay, these organisms are fast swimmers. Okay, these organisms are fast swimmers. Okay, right? Now the next point which you are going to see here is the plants. I'll just remove the first point here. Okay, the plants. Now when we are talking about plants, all right, so when we are talking about plants in the littoral zone, okay, right, now plants like mosses, okay, they are seen here. Okay, mosses are seen here. Then water lily also is seen. Okay, water lily is also seen here. All right, now moving on to the next point here. All right, now next point here is, now here because you can see plants, there is high photosynthetic rate. There is high photosynthetic rate. So littoral zone is a zone where most of the plants are found and the photosynthesis rate is very, very high. Okay, right? Now, okay, right? So I hope this is clear. Now we'll move on to the next zone. I'll just remove these. I hope you have made a note of them. I'll just remove these before going to the next zone, which is the second zone. Okay, now the second zone is called as the limnetic zone. Okay, second zone is called as the limnetic zone. Okay, so when we are talking about a limnetic zone, okay, now this zone is basically an open water zone. Okay, this zone is basically an open water zone. Okay, it's an open water zone. If we wish to continue a little more, that is, we can write and receives. Okay, it receives good amount of light. Okay, it receives good amount of light. Okay, right? All right. So photosynthesis will occur in this zone as well. That we'll see in the later part of this topic. Okay. Now in the next point is, it has variety. Okay, it will have variety of freshwater fish. Okay, it will have a variety of freshwater. Water I have written here. Okay, freshwater fish. Okay. Now these fish, whatever are present in the fresh water, they are bright, they are shiny. Okay, they are bright, then they are shining, then they are grayish silver in color. Sorry, grayish silver in color. Okay, they are grayish silver in color. Okay, right? Then now, because they are grayish silver in color and they are present on the top, they try to reflect water. So sometimes, so they are transparent. Okay, so it's not that all the organisms are transparent there, but there are some organisms which are transparent. Okay, then transparent, or they are whitish bodied. WHIT, I'm so sorry. Whitish, they are whitish bodied. Okay, they are whitish bodied. Now that is what it is. Okay, right, now we will write the examples which are present in this particular zone. You have the crustaceans. Okay, like the crabs and all. Okay, crabs all come under crustaceans. Then you have cyclops. Okay, then you have daphnic. Okay, you have the daphnic. Okay, now these are the organisms which are seen. Now you have some plants also in this. Okay, example of plants are Waphnia, Walfia, or I can also call it as Wolffia, WOLLFFIA. Okay, WOLFFIA, I'm sorry, WOLFFIA, that is Wolffia. And then you can also see water hyacinth. Okay, water hyacinth. Okay, right, now in this zone also the photosynthetic rate is high. Okay, right, that is why you can see many plants here. Okay, right, so moving on to the next zone. I hope you have made a note of them. Okay, moving to the next zone, which is called as the profundal zone. Okay, the next zone, the third zone, it is called as the profundal zone. Okay, it is called as the profundal zone. Okay, let's see the characteristics of these particular zones. Profundal zone. Now, so it is mostly dimly lit. Okay, it is mostly dimly lit. Okay, so light penetration is very less, it is very dim. Okay, right, then most heterotrophs are found in this region. Okay, most heterotrophs that are dependent on autotrophs. Okay, or any other organisms. Okay, right, most heterotrophs, okay, are found in this. Okay, most heterotrophs are found in this particular zone. Okay, then the next point in this is, okay, now here most creatures are bottom dwellers. Okay, now most creatures here are bottom dwellers. Okay, so when I say bottom dwellers means that means what? They are bottom feeders. They stay on the bottom of the pond or the river or the lake. Okay, right? They are, most of them are bottom dwellers. Okay, right? Okay, and here you can see organisms which are scavengers. Okay, you can see organisms which are scavengers, and you can also see organisms which act as predators. Okay, you can see scavengers as well as predators. You know what scavengers do? Now predators, you can say crabs. Okay, right? Then the other thing, other predator that I can talk about is fishes. Okay, right? These are small organisms which feed on another smaller organisms, or they can also feed on dead and decomposing matter. which is already died in the lake. Okay, right? Then the next point here is there are certain microorganisms which are present in this particular uh, uh, ecosystem, that is freshwater ecosystem. There are many though, but these microorganisms are basically bacteria which they act on the dead and decomposing organisms. Okay, they act on the dead and decomposing organisms. Okay, now those bacteria are say the bacteria which they basically they are actually decomposing the particular organism. Okay, now when they are decomposing the particular organism, these bacteria will decompose them and they will enrich the particular area with nutrients. Okay, which are nutrients for the other feeders which are already present there. Okay, right? Now if we talk about say bacteria, the bacteria name is detritus. Okay, the name of the bacteria is detritus. Okay, now this is a microbacteria which is present and it actually decomposes the organic matter. Okay, right? Then now here the bottom dwellers, okay, now the organisms which are basically present on the floor. Okay, so bottom dwellers, okay, now their eyesight is not very good. Okay, so they are relying on the smell. They rely on smell. Okay, these bottom dwellers, they generally rely on the smell. Okay, right? So these are the three specific zones which are present, that is the say the littoral zone. Okay, the second one is the limnetic zone and the third one is the profundal zone. Okay, so all these three zones are making up the freshwater ecosystem. Okay, right? Now most of the points may little bit coincide with marine ecosystems, but here we are looking at a stagnant water as well as the river water. Okay, stagnant water means it is still and river water means it is flowing. Okay, right? So these are the three zones in the freshwater ecosystem. So I'll see you in the next session. Thank you so much.